it's coming back to buttons and knobs.
It is.
It is coming back.
Which I appreciate. They do take feedback. I have in my Panamera, there's the center vent.
Oh yes.
Is like electronic.
And I like the take on.
And it's not like it remembers where you last left it. So every time I get in the car, I'm like fiddling with that. I'm like, why is this such a thing? Like, this is so easy.
Yeah. Welcome to the new season of our show History on Wheels, where we uncover the rich and iconic history of all your favorite cars and bikes. So buckle up for the ride. We have someone very special to delve into this history with us today. He needs no introduction. He's a superstar in his own right. Dulquer Salmaan, thank you so much for being with us today. It's an absolute honor to share this space with another petrol head. I mean, that makes me absolutely so happy. But, I believe you have one of these, and I'm not talking about this one. I'm talking about one of the original 110s.
Yeah. I think from when I was little, I guess cars always caught my eye. I've had some strong influences. And you see the classic Land Rovers everywhere, right? I mean, they say 70-80% of them still ply the streets.
Yeah.
Also they're made of aluminum, they don't really rust. So people can keep them going. And I just loved how it looked. There's something so timeless about it. And I was searching for the longest time to find one. And I think around lockdown is when I finally found one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a 2005 TD5. Which is a great engine choice. But I think when I was younger, going to England, we just see it everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, this would be so great in India.
Yeah, it's been in many movies too.
It's been so many movies.
Skyfall, did you see it there and say, I got to be this James Bond kind of guy?
But even like the older, I think, Bond films. And, I think in Tintin, there's a series 1 or 2. So just... and also, I mean, when I was reading about it, in many parts of the world, it's the first vehicle people have ever seen, because Land Rovers just make it everywhere, apparently.
I don't know if you've ever been to Manebhanjyang in India. Apparently, it's one of the places that has the most Land Rovers in the world.
Right.
Today, the running, flying Mark 1, Mark 2s. Yeah, and they ply to the border. Right. You have to see that road. It's crazy. It's narrow. It's like there's basically just enough space for those 4 tires. But these guys go up and down it together, and it's an insane drive to do.
And still keeping them running, right?
And keeping them running. Yeah. Did you have to do a lot of restoration on your car?
So I bought it from a collector, so it didn't have much of... so we've done preventive maintenance. I've restored it cosmetically. I mean, it had a lot of these checker plates everywhere and lot of decals and stuff like that. So I removed all of it.
Got it back to
so I just wanted to look
true
mostly like factory. I've done some bits which is there's a company called Twisted in England.
Yeah.
So they kind of restore the front end a little more to the earlier Defenders. So it's got a bit of that. So it's a nice little mix of both.
Nice.
It's got those sort of slightly vintage looking wheels that I got down.
And the lights on
of
the
course.
side, yeah.
So I was like, it's white. I was like, I want amber because that's more retro.
When you saw the new one, I mean, do you think it still has a lot of that old Defender in it? I mean, it does have the cues, and we'll walk around and take a look.
It has the cues, but I know there's a lot of debate about this, right? I mean, the earlier one was so accessible, and farmers used to use it and stuff like that, and now they do claim it's become a lot posher. But I still think it's a great exercise in the sense it does everything.
I've driven it over all kinds of crap, and it does everything that the old one can do and more.
Right, and comfortably with great ergonomics.
So, exactly. I love that they've retained these cues, the 2 lights that you always have on the sides are seen
and
in the 2
circles
cues.
And squares.
The bonnet line. It's become a lot rounder than square, I think, than before. And
even the shoulder line, if you think about it, is a cue.
The shoulder line, the straight up A-pillar, the roof, the rear. I mean, I think except for the fact that these are not sliding anymore, it still has that window line, and of course this rear.
And this, right?
Yeah,
I mean, this
the rear window area.
The design area is exactly like the old one.
The straight, and this roof line. I think the roof line.
Aren't vertical, boxy sort of boots the best? You can stack suitcases upright.
I agree.
I'm so done with swoopy SUVs.
See, that's nice for when you want to go out in the evening and be stylish, but practicality wise, I love that straight up.
But I love that it's all coming back. I feel like most automakers are now going back.
And I really love a tail-mounted spare because it is so easy to get off.
Also, it's so
Take
SUV.
it out and change your tire. You don't have to access something from underneath or
Oh my God, it's an exercise in itself.
I know. We just had a flat driving back from Hampi, and it was quite an exercise. So I really like that. There are two petrol heads in this car. Slow is not an option. So much plusher than the old Landy. You go over that, you'll bounce.
You can't turn without bumping your elbow. Coming backward.
Yeah, he won't see you. Yeah.
I was like, that's the front of the bus. I think when it first came on the scene, it was unlike anything even the English had seen, right? Because always you needed roads and and cars couldn't just go everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, this has become a monocoque now instead of ladder on frame, so much plusher.
Yeah.
And fantastically, it's still capable because it's, I mean, even with that, they've managed to make it like 3 times stiffer. So, you know, it does pretty much everything.
There's a lot of, I think, debate amongst makers, right? I mean, a lot of them still want to stick to ladder on frame. You want to go up like this or?
No, I think we just go around,
ladder on frame or monocoque. It's almost like a true off-roader has to be
a ladder on frame.
Yeah, it's become like a talking point.
Yeah, I think initially because of articulation and the kind of, you know, stuff that you needed to conquer, but with modern day technology, things have changed.
Not that many people are doing all that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 80% of people who buy SUVs are not taking it anywhere an SUV needs to go.
Max over a footpath.
Where have you taken your Land Rover? Tell us.
So the classic Defender, nowhere really.
Okay.
So also it came during.
Come on, man! You have to give it a full-on test.
So I had a Pajero Sport, I had an 80 series Land Cruiser. So all of those, especially when I go for shoots.
Yeah.
I've taken it up the hills, and we shot on the second highest peak in South India.
Oh, lovely.
It's called Mashable. And so it was like 25 jeeps, and all the cast and crew are dying going in them because there's no comforts whatsoever, and it's a long trek. It's like you go up two hills, 2 mountains.
Yeah.
And I just went in this.
Thing.
Yeah, it was great.
Amazing. Yeah, these, I mean, it's amazing.
It's so effortless, right?
They clamber up, and sometimes it makes you look like a hero, but cars really doing all the tough stuff. So. Did you know in Land Rover did a 90 that they did with a propeller, a rudder and a snorkel so that the engine wouldn't go, and they actually made it as a floating car. So it was like, they actually did that in those days, and I was just thinking that's crazy because recently I drove something called the Sherp. I don't know if you've seen it. It's that amphibious vehicle. Right. Pretty incredible how it goes on land and then goes floats on water, and it's just, when you're getting into the water you think no, I'm going to sink, and it actually floats, and paddles its way.
Is the tires that make it float? Because it has those massive tires.
No, so it has an empty chamber underneath, so you've got that air pocket there,
right.
And then it has those chains, so it's like got like a paddle boat kind of effect that then propels you through the water.
So cool. They just found all kinds of views for it, and then it just became, I think, really ingrained in their culture.
This was her favorite car,
I love that
right?
about her,
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some crazy stories about her. So apparently when the Saudi prince was visiting, she heard that women are not allowed to drive in Saudi. So she got really, really upset about it. So when he landed there, she put him into her Landy and went flat out on her estate. And he was like begging the translator to tell her to slow down, please. So I love those stories about this.
But she was really cool like that.
I think she was.
And
really
she drove till the very end, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you always saw her in a Land Rover as well.
With her corgis.
Yeah, with her corgis. That's pretty cool. But I guess on those estates, it just did the job so well, right?
Yeah. And I think there's so much to explore, and
Yeah.
My dad put me on his lap quite young.
Yeah.
I think I could steer by like 5 or 6. And then I think by the time I was 9, and my sister was 11.
Yeah.
We used to be a slightly elder driver, very sweet gentleman, and we kept begging him, please teach us. So then, and there was an 800 and we could just about reach. So I think by then we'd kind of figured rowing the gears and stuff, and then we just had to understand, clutch and the other pedals and everything. So then as soon as we learned, I would find every excuse, even if it's just park the car in the house or reverse it back. I would find any excuse, jump into a car and just drive it. And my dad didn't know I did this. So when he found out, he was actually very cool about it.
Yeah.
So if we're in a closed property and stuff
then it's okay. Yeah.
And he would show it off to his friends and stuff. He'd be like, bring the car up. And they're all like, what? He can drive? And he's like, yeah, he can drive.
I know that's so. I guess he's a petrol head as well, and so that kind of translates it. I think it's very genetic also.
I think so.
A lot of it just comes down into like what you love and feel about cars and stuff like that. They want us to change and me to drive, so I'll drive.
Okay, sir. अभी निकल रहे. Okay, thanks.
Just change कर रहा है driver change. Okay, so change of role now.
Yeah.
Get this off-road view for you to see where the transparent bonnet is. Maybe just shift these around a bit. It kind of gives you a. No, that's just giving you a 360 view. You don't want 3D. No, you don't want 3D. Let's go. I think on the interior, what I love is that these grab handles, the tough rugged bits.
Yeah, a lot of storage spaces, right?
And they've retained that old school, having the handlebar to hold in front and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of
just the materials, and you're seeing leather, the metal, and wood and everything. I love the exposed rivets and stuff.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah, and quality in this is just like top class. I love Jerry McGovern's design. I think he just does it so well and effortlessly makes the old blend into the new.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's the tough part. Like sometimes people go very retro and it just doesn't work today. And then
I agree with you, and that's what I think the Defender really did well with, that it wasn't too retro.
Right.
Yeah. It had enough bits, and I think, like you said, there were a lot of people worried about it being a monocoque, but I think it silenced
I don't think you can
everything.
ever make everybody happy.
Yeah.
There's always going to be two opinions.
Yeah.
But also, it's been great, super reliable. My dad dailies it. And now my sister's picked one up, and she's also loving it.
And in Bombay traffic, I love it. Just
the visibility,
move over, The Defender's coming, people just don't mess with it. It's been such a pleasure driving with you, and I have to say that I drive with you anywhere, anytime. I'm a very bad back seat driver, so that's really good that I'm able to say that. You're doing this Guns and Gulab. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's this great, fun gangster comedy, and Raj and DK are like the mavericks of sort of that series space. We've seen Family Man and Farzi and all of it. And they're great at this genre bending. They blend all the different genres together and create this great, there's gangs and there's gangsters. And
did you have a gangster car?
I had a gypsy.
Oh,
I play like a narcotics officer.
Okay.
It's set in a fictional town. We shot all of it in Dehradun. It has this amazing cast. There's Rajkumar Rao, there's Gulshan Devaya, there's Satish Kaushik, who's unfortunately no longer with us. Adarsh Gaurav. I think this will be that one fun show that everybody's going to enjoy.
Before we let you go, we have to do a fun petrol head rapid fire.
Absolutely.
With you. Just a couple of questions. Sure. So, Ice or EV?
Ice.
Your favorite driving song?
Bon Jovi, It's My Life.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you manual or automatic because I know the answer.
It's a given.
It's a given to that one as well. But a naturally aspirated engine or the kick of a turbo?
NA. I'm too much of a oral personally. Sound is too important for me.
A road trip you've been wanting to do?
Across Europe, drive on all of these roads that you see in all of the automotive reviews. Even Scotland for that matter. I have done a little bit Scotland, Inverness and all of that. But do it properly in a proper car.
What's that dream car with the dream road?
I think any GT Porsche manual. And I do want to drive on the tracks. I want to drive to the ring. But there's so much hype about Stelvio Pass that I have to discover it. But some of those passes, I think, between Switzerland, Italy, all of that.
They're beautiful.
And Karun keeps telling me because he's driven everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Stunning roads, Thank you so much for having taken the time to speak with us. We really enjoyed this.
So I've been watching you for so long. It's like I know you. You're my person.
Well, now I know you. I know you a little bit better as well. And all the best for Guns and Gulab.
Thank you so much.
Here's some fun facts about the Defender. Did you know that the original 110 was actually made as a 12-seater, and this was done so that it qualified as a bus, which meant people could avail of tax breaks. Everybody knows the legendary Camel Trophy race. It was a really tough off-road event and mostly saw Jeeps. But after 1981, every vehicle in that was a Land Rover. Did you know that the Defender name didn't really exist until 1990, but the history of this car goes back way before that to 1948, where you had the Series 1, Series 2 and then Series 3 Land Rovers. Now in 1983, there was a spin-off of the Series 3 which shared the body panels but had a new grille, it had an extended track, it had coil springs, it had a 2-speed transfer case and it had centrally lockable differential as well as a one-piece windscreen. This car was really the origin of the Defender and it was called the 110, named after its 110-inch wheelbase. There was also a 90 version and a 120 version that came later, but none of these were really called the Defender. It was only in 1990 when the Discovery came along that the Defender got its name to avoid confusion.